Somewhere around 4,000 years ago, a scribe pressed a reed stylus into a wet clay tablet and began recording the history of kings. Not recent kings, not kings anyone living could remember, kings who had ruled before the world ended. If the mystery of how long humanity has truly existed on this planet is something that keeps you up at night, consider subscribing so you never miss a video like this. By the time archaeologists excavated ancient sites across southern Iraq in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, they had already grown accustomed to finding things that rewrote history. But one artifact found at Lhasa in southern Iraq and now housed at the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford did something no other ancient document had done quite so explicitly. It divided all of human existence into two eras, before the flood and after it, and calmly listed the rulers of both. The Weld-Blundell prism, as it came to be known, was presented to the Ashmolean Museum in 1923. It is the most complete surviving copy of what scholars call the Sumerian King List. It is not a myth tablet, it is not a religious hymn. It was written as an administrative and historical record, the ancient world's equivalent of an official chronicle. And it begins not with the Sumerians themselves, but with a civilization, or a sequence of them, that existed before everything we currently recognize as human history. In the marshlands and river deltas of what is now southern Iraq, the Sumerians built the world's first confirmed cities, Eridu, Uruk, Ur. They invented writing. They recorded astronomy, law, medicine, and trade. They were, by every conventional measure, the starting point. Except they didn't believe they were the starting point. The King List, with its earliest known copies, dating to around 2100 BCE, and its most complete version with the Weld-Blundell prism, dating to approximately 1800 BCE, opens with a declaration that has puzzled historians for over a century. When kingship descended from heaven, kingship was in Eridu. It then lists 8 kings across 5 ancient cities with reigns measured not in years, but in units of 36,000 and 43,200 years. After the last of these 8 kings, Ubara Tutu of Shuruppak, the text delivers a single, world-ending sentence. Then the flood swept over. After that line, the list begins again. New cities, shorter reigns, history as we recognize it. The Sumerians were not claiming to be the first. They were claiming to be the survivors, 8 kings. That is the number the tablet gives for the age before the flood, not a vague many rulers or an unspecified ancient past. 8 distinct individuals, 8 named cities, 8 reigns recorded with the same bureaucratic precision the Sumerians applied to grain inventories and legal contracts. Scholars have debated for generations what those 8 figures represent. Some, including the renowned Sumerologist Thorkild Jacobsen, argued that the impossibly long reigns are symbolic, similar to the cosmic ages described in Hindu scripture, meant to convey primordial time rather than literal years. Others point to the 5 cities named in the pre-flood section and note that each of them is real. Eridu has been excavated. Shuruppak has been excavated. The archaeological layers at these sites show repeated cycles of occupation, destruction and rebuilding that stretch back well beyond the Sumerian period, with flood deposits confirmed at multiple levels. The cities in the tablet are not invented. The question is, what happened in them before the record begins? You have been watching a video that is asking questions most history classes never get around to. Drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from, and whether any of this lines up with things you've read or studied over the years. Buried in the sediment layers of 3 continents, scientists found something in the early 2000s that quietly reshaped the conversation about catastrophic prehistory. A thin layer of platinum, nanodiamonds, and microscopic impact spherules deposited approximately 12,900 years ago at the precise boundary where the last ice age ended. Not gradually, as textbooks once described, but abruptly. Within decades, possibly less. A 2018 paper published in the Journal of Geology, authored by Wendy Woolbach and a team of fellow researchers, identified this impact signature across sites on multiple continents. Something hit or exploded above the Earth at the end of the Pleistocene with enough force to ignite continent-wide wildfires, collapse ice sheets, and raise global sea levels by hundreds of feet over the following millennia. That sea level rise is where the story gets quietly astonishing. As ice sheets melted between approximately 12,000 and 6,000 years ago, the ocean swallowed approximately 27 million square kilometers of coastal land, river deltas, shallow continental shelves, the very kind of terrain where early humans would have built their first settlements. In 2001, India's National Institute of Ocean Technology announced the discovery of submerged structural remains in the Gulf of Khambat, and a piece of recovered wood was later carbon, dated to approximately 9,500 years old. At Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, a temple complex requiring organized labor on a massive scale was already being constructed by 9,600 BCE, documented by German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt, beginning systematic excavations in 1995, 6,000 years before Sumer. Whatever the Younger Dryas event destroyed, people had clearly been building sophisticated things long before the official record begins. Right. So here is where intellectual honesty requires a pause. No confirmed artifact of writing, metallurgy, or complex urban engineering from before Göbekli Tepe has ever been recovered. The Sumerian King List is a genuine ancient document, not a forgery, not a modern invention, but its pre-flood kings remain classified by mainstream archaeology as mythological figures rather than historical rulers. Jacobson's reading, that the enormous reign lengths signal symbolic cosmic time rather than literal records, is still the dominant scholarly interpretation. The tablet tells us what the Sumerians believed, and that belief is itself remarkable. Whether it constitutes evidence of actual prior civilizations is a different question. What archaeology does confirm is this: human behavioral modernity, the capacity for symbolic thought, planning, and complex social organization, appears in the fossil and artifact record at least 75,000 years ago, based on ochre engravings found at Blombos Cave in South Africa. Anatomically modern humans have existed for approximately 300,000 years. The first confirmed cities appear roughly 5,500 years ago. That leaves an almost incomprehensible gap, nearly 95,000 years of modern human existence that is largely archaeologically invisible, not because nothing happened, because most of it happened in places that are now underwater. If you have ever looked at ancient ruins and felt like you were only seeing part of the story, you are in good company. That feeling has a name. It is called being a careful observer of history. The Ashmolean Museum in Oxford holds a clay prism inscribed roughly 4,000 years ago by a Sumerian scribe who believed with complete cultural certainty that the world had been destroyed and rebuilt before his own civilization came into being. He was not writing speculation. He was recording received history, the accumulated memory of a people who traced their roots not to a beginning, but to a recovery. Whether we are literally the 8th civilization in a sequence of human societies stretching back into deep prehistory is a question that honest science cannot yet answer. The geological evidence for a catastrophic reset approximately 12,900 years ago is real and peer-reviewed. The underwater sites are real. Göbekli Tepe is real. The gap between human cognitive modernity and the first cities is real and it is vast. What the Sumerian King List offers is not proof. It offers something rarer and in some ways more valuable. It offers the memory of people who were already looking backward and seeing a longer story than the one they had inherited. The oldest writing in the world begins not with "we are the first." It begins with the quiet, matter-of-fact acknowledgement that others came before, that the world ended, and that someone survived to start again. That single idea, pressed into clay by an unknown scribe more than 4,000 years ago, may be the most important sentence ever written.